Hey guys, what's up? So check this out. This is a really interesting book called Rough Work by Frank Frazetta. And this is basically the rough work of Frank Frazetta. Even though the cover isn't rough work, this is a beautiful oil painting that he did, a very, very nice close-up of a Viking with a big axe coming out of some mountains or whatever it is. It's a really cool painting. It's one of his famous ones. And I like this book because it's got the rough work, his unfinished or sometimes finished, but not like polished, perfect pieces. And it goes into, the sketches of Frank Frazetta. This is a picture of Frazetta. Like the sketches of Frank Frazetta and a lot of the other stuff, mostly fantasy. So if you're into fantasy, check this out. This is an interesting book, by the way. It's weird because the cover is like soft. It's not. It's a hardcover, but it's squishy. I don't know why. The front and the back is a squishy cover. It's like you could kind of press it, and the front of it is squishy, and the inside of it is like solid. I don't know why they did that, but it's actually I like it. It's actually pretty cool. And so this is interesting, and I'll tell you what this is. This is Frazetta running around with an axe. And that's because he did a lot of characters that basically had an axe. Like this character here was drawn with an axe, a Viking with an axe. And this was possibly done because of his not his documentary, his animated feature, which is this one that I talked about before, Fire and Ice, the animated feature. And as you could see inside the feature, because you can see the front cover, the guy has an axe. And so he was trying to show the people that were making that feature, like what a person running around with an axe would look like. And so he would just pick up an axe and start running through the forest and took some snapshots of it. And that's why it's the front thing of the book. I don't know if a lot of people know about that, but if you watched the documentary, he explains, or the people that were involved in the animated feature explain what that is. And like that he just grabbed an axe and showed people exactly like what someone would look like, running around the forest with an axe. So it's really interesting. It's a lot of it's fantasy art, so and yeah, this is pretty cool. I mean, you could see like the stuff here is like unfinished. This is an African Zulu warrior, which is really cool. Looks like a Zulu. I don't know. But definitely like an African warrior, like I don't know, Zulu or like what kind, but really cool looking though. There's more like interesting, sort of like unfinished stuff. This one I don't know. This one's really unfinished. This one's really rough work. But it's really, really interesting. Oh, here's a good one. Yeah, that's cool. And it's like this is sort of what he does. And as you can see, it's like this is not a finished piece. It's not a polished, finished piece. It's more like a sketch. He did some paintings. It looks pastel, actually. But I love like the red cape, and the rest of him is like silver and black. The horse is like a black, gigantic draft horse, like those big horses that can actually like hold people with armor. Actually, I heard that armor is not that heavy. It's like 35, 40 pounds, which isn't that heavy. If you're used to carrying around, like 20-pound weights in each arm and that's the weight of armor. Armor wasn't really that heavy. As far as I heard, maybe good armor. It really does depend what kind of armor, I guess. There's some interesting stuff. I'm just going to show you some of the better stuff in here because his artwork is amazing, and I love any books with anyone's artwork. Especially fantasy art, and so some interesting stuff. Here's this one. This is really like rough work, and it's just like this guy, sort of like a male figure, like going, just like bringing their hands up, and there's like some interesting. This one too is pretty cool, like somebody swinging a sword, and as you can see, it's like not a finished piece. Swinging a sword, it's just like cool. Artwork of somebody basically, in underwear, swinging a sword. But you know what? That's realistic because a lot of people think, oh, why would someone be in underwear swinging a sword? But a lot of people back in the day, that's how they fought. You know, that's how they fought and waged war. They didn't have armor because armor slowed them down, and when they, you know, basically fought with very little clothing or even naked, they got more, or just like they put mud on themselves and stuff like that. They got like, they didn't need armor. They were able to like dodge, you know, blows and dodge. They were just able to like maneuver a lot better. Like they can run faster than the guy with armor. And so they would win because they were just faster than them, you know, like, and so while armor makes sense, it feels like, oh, they have armor, so they're hard to hit. Well, yeah, but it also slows them down, and, you know, they're also like easier to hit because they're very slow. What else is in here? Just a bunch of really cool stuff. I'm going to show you just some of the better stuff in here, so I'm going to flip through this. Yeah. Oh, here's a nice one. Oh, yeah. Here's a couple. Oh, these are cool. This one looks a little bit like I don't know what that is. But this one's cool. I like this one here. Just a guy, you know, and same thing with the red cape. And it's definitely a Viking because it looks like a Viking ship. And he's like on the like front of the ship standing there. This, I don't know what that is. Just a drawer. I guess just a sketch. The next page has a pretty cool one also. And these are freaking cool. Look at this one. It's sort of a sci-fi fantasy. It's like the fantasy of the guy holding up a sword and the sci-fi of like the planet behind him. That's pretty cool. I always like it when they put sci-fi and fantasy together. I think sci-fi works better with fantasy. Like, you know, in Star Wars, it's the Force. You know, it's not just spaceships and laser beams. It's the Force and lightsabers and, you know, like, and wizards and people that shoot lightning from their fingers. So they put a lot of fantasy in that in Star Wars and stuff. So it's not just like, without all the fantasy, without the dark side and whatever, there would be no story. And that's why, you know, Star Wars is a science fantasy rather than a science fiction. Oh, here's some beautiful stuff. It's kind of nice. It's a girl with a horse. Here's a nice one. A girl standing in front of the thing, and with a leopard down here. That's pretty cool. I think that's pretty neat, nifty. Yeah, I like that one. This is interesting. I don't remember like where I got this one, but I really like snapped it up because any book by like, I'm just into these books. Like any book by any like good fantasy artist, I'm all over it. It's interesting because yeah, there's some nudity in this book, so I can't show it because it's YouTube. But some interesting stuff. I will show you that there's a lot of other interesting stuff in here that I could show. This is pretty cool. Caveman, you know, fighting with a triceratops. That's pretty freaking cool. Look at that. Just all action, all movement, all drama. You know, no details that don't absolutely need to be there. You know, he doesn't like put things in there that don't need to be in there. I think that's the thing about Frazetta and his art. He puts what needs to be there and he leaves the rest out of it, you know? There's not anything in this one that's put in here, not any one line that doesn't need to be there. Like every single line works in this painting. It's amazing. It's interesting how seriously, like a caveman against a triceratops, it just wouldn't happen. The triceratops would so win. Cavemen used to hunt in packs and they would hunt in groups. And, you know, you would have like the strongest men of the village and maybe even strong women. I don't know how they did, who they picked to hunt and whatever, the best hunters basically. And they would like surround animals and stuff. But they would never go after like a triceratops or some like huge something. Even though triceratops were not alive at the same time as cavemen were. So that was like a million years later. This is pretty freaking cool. I like this one. It just feels like he's like floating. He's not just like floating or jumping, but he's like floating through time and space. Like all of these lines and stuff, time and space. And again, like every line is there because it needs to be there. You can't take any of these lines out. Maybe you could take some of this shadow out, but there's no detail here anyway. So he actually did take a lot of the shadow out. You know, every line, it's so cool how he does that. You know, maybe not like every single freaking line, but like he doesn't put anything in a painting that doesn't absolutely need to be there. I'm just gonna flip through some of this other stuff in here. This one's pretty cool. More of the like the guy, you know, lifting his sword in the air. That's pretty cool if you like fantasy, you know. And here's some other stuff. It's rough work, you know. It's rough stuff. It's like, it's interesting how, you know, you could start a painting like this and never finish it, because it looks like if you really finish this painting, it would go somewhere. It would do something, you know. If you finish the painting, yeah, there's a lot of nice stuff. Here's like scary monster with a scythe, girl, you know. I can't show too much of that, but scary freaking wraith there, and of course, you know, dinosaur in the back. Dinosaurs are cool, man. Dinosaurs, dragons, they're cool. Dragons are just dinosaurs with breathe fire, you know. And I guess not every dragon breathes fire, but he did a lot of stuff with dinosaurs. Like, he did a bunch of stuff. Even like he did like Tarzan coming after a dinosaur. It's interesting. It's either Tarzan or some kind of a lot of interesting T-Rexes and stuff. T-Rex, I mean, as far as dinosaurs go, T-Rex, Triceratops, and Brontosaurus, those are probably the ones you need to know. The rest of them weren't that good. I mean, raptors, yes, whatever, but come on, a T-Rex was like more badass than a raptor. Raptors are like a small T-Rex. T-Rexes were big with little arms. You know, some interesting stuff in here. This is great. They have the Dracula. I'm just gonna like flip through. Okay, let me show you this one really quick. That's freaking cool. That is so freaking cool. That is really cool. Let me see what else I can show you in here. This is interesting. Like this is also like what in the movie Fire and Ice. It's like a warrior fighter against these like ape men, sort of like ape men that are like attacking him. He's got like one, and they've got like sticks and frickin' clubs, and he's just got like a knife and whatever, a dagger, and he's like coming after like 10 of them that are surrounding him. That's pretty cool. That's pretty badass. Like, he did that with Conan the Barbarian, like in his Conan pictures. That is freaking amazing. Woman, I think it's a woman fighting a cat. That's really, really cool. So he did make a lot of strong women also. He didn't just make guys, you know, badass and whatever. Yeah. A lot of cool stuff. I don't know. More of that. Some stuff is just, you know, just a line drawing. You know, they put it in the book. But I guess they did tell you it's rough work. Now, okay, so I'm just showing you the good stuff. I'm also trying to show the stuff that I can show, because he did, Frazetta did a lot. Oh, he did some nudity and everything, and you just wish I could show that stuff. Oh, here's some interesting stuff. Here is, I think it's Conan with a snake, because in Conan the Barbarian, he fought a snake. So there's like Conan with a snake, and there's another one also, Conan with a snake, sort of the same picture. It's interesting, like how he would draw a picture and then do another one of the exact same composition, but it would come out different. And you know, it's interesting when an artist does that and likes to experiment and like mess around and play around, where he's trying to like, you know, put together an image, and he draws it and paints it, and then he finishes it and he does another one that's just like it, to try to improve on the first one, you know, because you use the first one as practice for the second one. Like, every time you paint something, it's practice for your next painting. So it doesn't matter like how your painting is, you know, if you use it as practice for your next painting will always be better. So you're constantly making better and better and better paintings, you know. And I think that's why he did that same exact painting, but he did it twice. As you can see, like there's this one. More rough stuff, but look at this one here. Now this composition he did a few times. There was another one called Conan the Conqueror, where he would sort of like have this Conan, this barbarian with some kind of a weapon like a sword, beating up a bunch of these thugs, and of course there's like an axe in the back and whatever, there's swords and there's shields all over the place, and just one freaking barbarian against a bunch of like thugs, and him like kicking ass. You know, and so he did that a lot. He practiced a lot with that composition, And, you know, he made one that became very, very popular, and I think it was called Conan the Conqueror. And it became one of his most popular paintings, and now it's worth millions of dollars in Sotheby's, like whoever owns it. It's $1 million painting, and what he did was, it was so good because he practiced doing that kind of painting until he got it exactly right. He kept doing that kind of painting over and over again, changing it a little bit, making it better, figuring out how to make it better, and then, you know, finally coming up with a masterpiece called Conan the Conqueror, which is really, really interesting. And there's other people that also like learned from Frazetta, and a lot like Ken Kelly and stuff. Here's another cool thing, and he uses like, you know, a lot of it is the light and dark, black and white. But look at the use of red. You know, it's lava underneath the thing, you know, and the bird, and like pterodactyl or something, like a dinosaur bird. And the guy's riding that freaking dinosaur bird. That is freaking, it's a Viking riding a dinosaur bird. How is that? How? It's so cool. Now, it's interesting because a lot of the, oh, here's some good stuff. Look at that one. He crashed he crashed his spaceship, and I think she's the inhabitant on the planet. It's a planet of fairies. That's pretty cool. Let me see what else is in here. Now, there's a bunch of cool stuff in here. This one, like, that one's okay. I know what that is. Here's another one, and this is interesting. This was a finished painting, you know, and I think this is the unfinished work, because I've seen the final piece of this. And what's interesting about looking at this thing, this is the underpainting or the first draft or like some kind of unfinished sketch of another painting that he did, which was a finished piece, which is also like one of his like most popular paintings. It's on, you know, you can Google it. If you Google Frank Frazetta art, you will see that painting and the finished version of it. It's very, very interesting how they put like the unfinished version of it in this book. Wow, there's so much good stuff. Here's another one. Him going after some kind of monster. I love how it's just like, you know, he didn't look. He's just like, not really. He didn't really draw every detail. Like, you could tell his leg is like behind him because it's not really there. But honestly, like the leg isn't drawn at all. It's just this little area of his leg, and the rest of the leg is behind him, so you can't see it. And so it's like this little, like this is like hardly drawn. This is very, very hardly. This whole area and that arm is completely not drawn. It's complete shadow, and his arm behind him is complete shadow, and like his hand here is shadow. It's just like so implied, and the action is implied, and the detail is implied. He does a lot of implied detail rather than actual detail. You know what I mean? I like this. That is freaking cool. Hell yeah. Bikers. Bikers with the devil behind them. Biker dude, biker chick, bike. Bikers. That's pretty cool. That's pretty freaking cool. There was another one like that. There was like a different one. This was, I actually did like, I redrew this one. I actually drew this one, and I learned a little bit about how, you know, how he freaking, I don't know, about like drawing. You know, you always learn something from drawing. This is freaking cool. Just a sketch of like a Viking warrior with like a mace, I guess, with like a battle cat behind them. That's freaking awesome. Battle cat. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know what that is. That's pretty cool too. That's pretty freaking cool. And then there's this one. I don't know. That's pretty cool. Okay. And yeah, you know what? I mean, he was around in the 1950s and whatever, in the 60s, and back then, Tarzan was a thing. You know, Tarzan. That's this one. Tarzan was like a thing. Yeah. Let's see what else is there. And there's like. It's interesting, like, this is, like, there's no detail anywhere. He just put some color in the back, and it's just, like, a warrior with a sword facing, like, the unknown, facing something. Like, I don't even know what he's looking. There's nothing to look at. He's just, but it looks like he's inside some kind of cavern and stuff like that. right? Here's some interesting stuff. Dude with a cat. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. Oh, see that? Like, look at the detail on that. Hardly any detail on that at all. But it's cool. I mean, all the forms are like coming out. I think he also did this one. He finished this one with more detail, and there's a finished piece of this one also. I guess, like, I mean, once you're like professional artist, then all you do is make art, so you have time to actually like mess around and like play with stuff and be like, what if I did this and what if I did that and whatever. This is pretty cool too. This is another Viking with the winged helmet with his axe. This is another lizard man on a lizard beast. I think that's pretty cool. Let's see if there's anything else here that's cool. I dig all of these. Like, I like all of these things. That's nice. That's really cool. You know, like there's no face at all. It's just shadow. This whole area is shadow. His leg is shadow. But the detailed, you know, torso and the arm and the weapon makes the guy look badass. That guy looks pretty freaking badass. Let's see what's going on. Yeah. There's some weird stuff. That's freaking weird. That's actually really cool. Like, there's nothing here on top, but if you look here, this area here, it's pretty freaking cool. Just really nice. And just like how it's nice to, you know, he knows what detail to show and what detail to leave out, you know? And I think that's really good to know. It's really important, I think. Good to know, like, about, you know, like, what detail do you need to put, like, what actually do you need to put into a painting, and what should you actually leave out of a painting to make it a better painting, you know? Like, what do you need more of? What do you need less of? Because a lot of people just put just a ton of everything in it, but would it be better if you took stuff out? Would it be better if you put other stuff in, you know? And I think just Frazetta, he just kind of knows, like, you know, I should put this in it and leave this out of it, you know, and it'll become more dramatic or something. And just skipping over the nudity. Some pretty cool. I like this. This is pretty freaking cool. Girl with a tiger. I think it's a tiger. And yeah, it's not a lot more stuff in here. And just a lot of cool stuff. Yeah, man. Oh, there is, by the way, the back here, it talks about the Frank Frazetta Museum. There is a museum, a Frank Frazetta Museum. As you can see, like, his finished pieces are actually there. And I think it's run by his family. And whoever is, like, his relatives or whatever, they run the museum. And you can actually go. It's in East Stroudsburg, Pennsylvania. You can actually go and see, you know, the museum and stuff like that. A lot of his pieces and finished work. So yeah, rough work by Frank Frazetta. You know, it's pretty cool. Let me know what you guys think of it in the comments. Like and subscribe. Thanks for watching the video. Hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you guys in another video later.